Here we have the problems that we started talking about in class today. It's the same problem, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do it twice, show you two different ways, and show you how it works out to become the same answer. So just like with anything, I don't care which way you do the problem. I want you to find a way that's easiest for you, as long as you follow all the rules, do everything correctly, and show me your work. So I'm going to go ahead and start off the first problem by putting the entire monomial over 1. And you see how this entire thing in parentheses is connected with a negative exponent? That means we can take everything in here and move it to the denominator. The truth is, because of this negative exponent, it does not matter what is on the inside. So we can ignore these exponents right here. So when we move this entire thing to the denominator, that's going to get us, we now have a 1 on top, over 4x to the negative 4th power y squared. And now it's to the positive 3rd power, because when you move this to the denominator, it becomes a positive. So at this point, I can go ahead and distribute the exponent to each and every factor. So I distribute it to the 4, the x to the negative 4, and the y squared, just like this. Don't forget, when you are distributing an exponent, you're not multiplying. It's not 4 times 3, it's 4 to the 3rd power. So when you find 4 to the 3rd power, it ends up being 64. So I have 1 over 64. When we have power of a power, we multiply our exponents. So that gives me x to the negative 12th and y to the 6th. So I know it's kind of hard to see. Handwriting's kind of bad on the iPad here. But this is a negative 12. We do not want any negative exponents in our answer. So what we can do is we can take this negative exponent and we can move it back to the top. What that does is it changes the exponent to a positive. So our final answer actually ends up being x with an exponent of positive 12 over 64 y to the 6th. So that's our final answer. We're completely done with the problem. And now we're going to go ahead and show the problem done in a different way. So when I do this problem in a different way, we are going to get the same answer that we got before. So after seeing this, I would like for you to decide which way you think is better. I personally don't have a preference because it's pretty much the same amount of steps going all the way through. So here we put this whole thing over 1 and we switch it to the bottom. Another way of getting the problem started is taking this exponent and distributing it first. That was our second step before over here. The only difference now is we have a negative exponent out here. We will be multiplying all these, and then we'll apply this negative exponent to the 4. So let me go ahead and show you that, showing you the distribution here. Don't forget, the cool thing about these videos is you can stop at any time if you need to. So once we distribute that, that gives me 4 to the negative 3rd power. I multiply my exponents. So negative 4 times negative 3 is going to give me a positive 12, x to the 12th power. Then I multiply my exponents here. That gives me 2 times negative 3, which is negative 6. So I have y to the negative 6. So now what happened is, in my expression, or in my monomial, I have 2 exponents that are negative. And I got to fix that. You cannot have negative exponents in your answer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a fraction over 1. And I'm going to take the 4 to the negative 3rd and the y to the negative 6 and move them to my denominator. So I'll just go ahead and start rewriting the question down there. So I still have on top, once I move both of these, I still have that x to the 12th power on top. So here's x to the 12th power. And in the bottom, I now have 4 to the positive 3rd power and y to the 6th power. Because I moved it to the bottom, it changed from a negative exponent to a positive. The only thing left to do is to go ahead and simplify this right here, 4 to the 3rd. We know that that's going to be 64. So I end up with x to the 12th over 64y to the 6th. So that's my final answer, and you can see it's the same final answer that we initially got. So the reason why I wanted to go ahead and post this video is to show you that, yeah, even though you end up with a negative exponent as your 12 here, and here you end up with a positive, it eventually all works out when you move it to where it's supposed to be, and you have all your exponents are positive. Everything works out and goes where it's supposed to be in the end, as long as you're following the rules and you do it correctly. So email me anytime if you have any questions, and go ahead and reply to the video. Let me know if it helped.